Happy Monday, everyone. Welcome to my channel, Edie's Attic. My name is Jenny, and I am coming to you with an oracle message that is actually outside of my schedule right now, but it is in regards to today's 11:11 portal. So let's jump right into it. The first thing that I channeled regarding the 11:11 portal is the recognition of the split between 3D and 5D. And when I channeled 3D, I was channeling that song, I'm Only Happy When It Rains by Garbage. And then when I was channeling 5D, I was getting Oh Happy Day. So with that, I just want to kind of explain the differences between the energies of 3D and 5D. With the 3D vibration, frequency, and timeline, we are very much in a state, I want to say a state of survival and pushing through what a lot of us call the matrix, and just feeling like life is running us and we are not in control of our lives. Our lives are controlling us, that we just have to follow suit and do as society has said to do in order to survive this game called life. And a lot of times we will find ourselves falling into a negative mindset, and we'll find that it's very comfortable to sit there and to break free from that negative cycle of thought patterns. One, because it's pushed into our faces on a daily, whether it be in society or on social media, the internet, and whatnot. But the challenge is when you're shifting to 5D is letting go of that comfort zone of where we feel safe, even though it's painful and it can be miserable and it can be redundant and feeling like Groundhog's Day. We often don't let go of patterns, people, habits because of how comfortable it is and how familiar it can be. We're very familiar with that energy, so we sometimes would rather just stay in it than try something out of the ordinary, something outside the box, in order to shift our perspective, because that sometimes is very scary and it's very uncomfortable because it's so unfamiliar. Now, I was guided to touch on my backstory just a little bit in regards to that. About 5 years ago, looking back, I am seeing myself as a completely different character as I am now. I decided to change my character. I manifested to become something that I didn't see that I was at the time. I was, and I am, a mother. And I found myself to be very tired and run down and very stressed and kind of very complacent and bored with the day-to-day tasks and routines, and feeling like there's got to be more than just this. And there was, because when I finally decided to shift my perspective, because I just simply didn't want to be sad, miserable, bored, stressed. I didn't want to be that anymore. I wanted to be better than that. I wanted more for myself, that I shifted my perspective, and those boring, mundane activities that I used to sometimes just dread became so much more meaningful when I took time to look at them from a different perspective. Everything in my life became more meaningful. Everything had purpose. Everything had meaning. Every step I made, one foot in front of the other, every single day, was leading me to something better. It was simply by changing my path the way divine guided me to and allowed me to and showed me to do, helped me become a person that could help others. I healed and I shifted myself. And I'm not saying that I don't have days where I have sadness or I feel depleted or where I feel a little burnt out or I have grief of loss, but I quickly get out of that energy. I look at these situations now from a different perspective, and I shift back into 5D consciousness, where I am looking at how every single thing that happens to me is actually happening for me, and that they are lessons and stepping stones on my journey through life. But I don't regret a single day of the shift and doing what it is that I do. There are days where I will question, where am I going? What am I doing? What is my purpose still? But then I remember that where I'm at now is a complete opposite disposition than where I was 5 years ago. And I have helped people along the way. It never really mattered to me much about, when it came to the social media thing, about views, likes, how many followers I had. To me, it's always been about putting out the content that Divine is telling me to put out, and hoping and praying that the one person that needed to see it sees it to help them heal. A lot of times when I get a message from someone saying thank you for what you shared, it helped me with whatever it is that it helped them with. I thank Divine because I feel like I am living my purpose when that happens. Like, I helped someone today. I got someone out of a rut, and it's because of Divine. They used me as like a tool, as a vessel to move through in order to reach others. So that's leading me into the next part of this. With this whole 1111 portal, today is a very powerful day with an energy of great magnitude that will be allowing us to finally anchor in our timelines, whether it be in the 3D or the 5D. But the goal is to anchor ourselves into 5D consciousness. We are being guided to manifest our highest desires and most abundant outcomes to solidify the shift into 5D. We are at the cusp of a great divide between 3Ders and 5Ders, so I like to call them, here and out, until we are on two separate earths of frequencies. You have to make a choice to commit, says Divine. Now, I wanted to touch base on this whole 1111. When you add 1111 2024 together, it comes up to 12. And then combined 1 and 2, you get the number 3, which I found was significant because it caused me to have a download regarding the other timeline. A lot of people talk about there being two timelines, the 3D timeline and the 5D timelines. And yes, there are plenty of other timelines and frequencies within all of that, but generally speaking, those are the two major ones that we focus on. However, about a year ago, I was shown something in a vision that I have kept to myself to this point, because a lot of times there's just certain channeled messages that I am told to hold on to until the right timing, and this is definitely the right timing. I have found that there is actually another timeline designed for light workers. Specific light workers, though, because there are many light workers, and eventually, when everyone shifts over to the 5D that needs to shift over, they're all going to be considered a light worker, and everyone has specific missions, purposes, jobs. So this is a particular timeline for a certain group of light workers that have a certain mission to fulfill while they are here. The best way I can explain it to you is by actually giving you the vision that I saw. So in this vision, I was located in the UP of Michigan, and it could just be a vision where the geography is just something that I'm familiar with. So that is what Divine used in order to show me the message needing to be shown. But I'm just going to tell you how it was. I was in the UP of Michigan, and before me was the body of water, which would be Lake Superior. And before my eyes, I saw what seemed to be transparent but glowed like a rainbow. It glowed and it exposed itself to me and started forming and moving across the lake to the other side. And I was encouraged to walk across this bridge. When I walked across the bridge to the other side, what I had found was the other side was simply the same exact thing as where I came from. I was back in the UP of Michigan. However, on this side, the colors were much more vivid. The energy was higher. You could feel the shift in energy. But the way of life wasn't what you would expect. I feel like I would have expected more high-tech, more futuristic, more alien-like, or what we've seen in movies, but it was actually quite the opposite. It was a very simple way of living. It was communities, small communities of people working in tandem together to survive, but not survive in where they needed to survive. It was just living, loving, working, enjoying the process. People had specific roles and they all did it and they all shared what they created. You would have, people tending fields. I saw lots of fields with vegetables and fruits and grains and herbs. I saw, people in barns raising animals. I saw women sitting around in circles, working through and knitting blankets and clothing and hats and scarves and all of that. And it was so simple. But it was so peaceful. It was like a lack of noise. It was a lack of negativity. It was a lack of a fast-paced kind of environment. So when I walked back over to the other side, it was very, very clear to me that I had been programmed for such a long time to see that this is normal. And I now, since then, have realized that this way of life and the energy that we feel on a day-to-day basis in our society, around people, in stores, in restaurants, in social gatherings, even in church, there's an underlying nature or an energy of negativity, competitiveness. There's always like sarcasm and underhandedness. It's so much more obvious when you step into an energy of peace and love and simplicity that now I see the 3D plane as being something that I didn't want to be a part of anymore. It was at that moment that I was given a choice. Divine said to me, I'm going to give you the choice. You can either A, cross over the bridge and spend the rest of your days in 5D and live this life, but you have to leave the others behind. Or you can have the ability to come and go in order to shepherd others into the 5D consciousness. So to me, it was a no-brainer. I wasn't about ready to just jump over to 5D and leave everyone that I knew, loved behind. There's so many people that I would have been leaving behind. So I said, I want to be the one to bridge the gap. And they showed a future me walking people one at a time, hand in hand, over this bridge into the new world, into the world of simplicity and peace. Much like a shepherd would be with their flock. In fact, that's what Divine wanted me to refer the specific group of light workers as shepherds. There is a select few, probably more than it sounds though, but there is a select few of light workers that have been given the gift of being able to jump timelines. They can shift in and out of 5D and 3D quite easily. If this doesn't resonate with you, then you're not on this mission. Those that completely get what I'm saying, this is for you. You are riding in the middle. You are able to step in 5D and jump back into 3D. You are able to expose yourself to lower vibrational people and situations without jeopardizing your ability to jump back up into 5D because you are a way shower and a shepherd to those that are starting to transcend the 3D into 5D. And I'm going to do a part 2 really quick to finish this up because I am running out of the allotted time here on TikTok. So catch part 2.